Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning. I did it in different order this time. And you are listening to the Blurring the Lines podcast. This is episode number
229.
229. I am your host, Peter Nikolaidis, and with always me. With me, as always, saving the day, my co-host, Adam Bell.
Hey, Peter.
Hey, Adam.
It's good to see you.
Oh, man.
That's what
It's good to
happens
be
when
seen.
when you fly in the door to do the podcast.
Yeah, so I have a personal trainer. I've had a personal trainer almost going on a year at this point. And I also have physical therapists. And with respect to my knee, my physical therapy is starting to get significant. So it's, when I go to a knee physical therapy session, it's not significantly different from a personal trainer strength session. So I'm a little bit tired. I'm also a little bit, I didn't have time, but I got a report just a couple hours ago that ICE agents are in Medford trying to allegedly rounding up people, a lot of unmarked black SUVs with guys in masks.
Wow. They didn't try to grab you, did they?
They did not.
Okay.
I didn't see them. So, but it's a little disconcerting that we have the Gestapo around just randomly kidnapping people, so there you go. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. Nobody's coming to kidnap me out here in the rural. Somebody walks into your field, they know that there's a gun on them.
Yeah. I mean, that's yeah. Well, anyway, there's that.
So do you ever fry fish? I know that does not fit in your diet, but have you ever fried fish and, like annually, have a fish fry?
Yeah. When you say fry, are we talking like breaded and deep frying, or are we talking just a pan full of oil and we just drop the fish in it, or what?
All the way unhealthy. You taking oil and drop it in, or or a pan fried is still accomplishing the same thing, just without the fry. With it.
Yeah. I've done it before, yes, but not very often. I mean, that's one of those things that even when I start eating it, I can tell, like, this is not good. I'm not going to like this. It's just going to be too greasy, and like I'm going to have the complexion of a teenager the next day, and just like
Yeah. See, I don't have nearly the sensitivities that you do to oil. Yeah. So why I asked, there's this Cajun from Louisiana. I mean, like a real Cajun. I mean, I guess there are a lot of real Cajun. And so I actually don't even know his real name. I think it's like Mike or something. But he does Cajun two-step seasoning, and he has a plain version and a fire, and I always use the plain version. And because we'll take.
Are we talking cooking or dancing?
Seasoning for cooking fish. Yeah. Two-step is a two-step process. But so it is really good and really easy to fry fish. And I mean, sometimes you do buttermilk, and then you make your bread crumbling and you don't do it's almost like a semi-fine powder, and you just take your fish, both sides, thoroughly batter it by getting in there, and then drop it in the fryer. And it is really tasty. Like it's got a really good season. And it's not spicy. And it makes fish that is, so I'm cooking catfish, and catfish, depending on how old it is or where the, if they got some skin in it, you could have some bitterness to it. And this makes it a really good tasting fish. And
talk to me about the seasoning.
So the seasoning is it's not real salty. It does, what I like is it's got a really good texture to it. So like when you get to the edge, when there's just, almost nothing but seasoning, I like to eat that, because it's not too, sometimes like a hush puppy, it's cornbread, it's kind of mealy. It doesn't get ripped. It's not mealy. So it's really fine to the fish. And it's like,
that's cool.
I've never tried the fire. I might try that just to see. But I like the regular season, and you can get it at Walmart. So it's very inexpensive.
Or you could maybe get it at Costco, and it would be very big.
Very big, yeah. I'm sure there are other, I'm sure there are other good seasons out there. I'm not a fried fish connoisseur. I mean, just I don't. We cooked it in the house this week, and that was a big mistake. We never fry anything in the house. The house smelled like fried fish for 72 hours. I mean, that's with the air conditioner on and filtering. I'm like, next time we cook that, we cook it outside.
Yes. Yeah, that's one thing I know. I've been cooking a little more lately. I've had company over a couple of times, and I keep forgetting when I'm cooking, like, close the bedroom door and the bathroom door upstairs, so that the bed and the sheets and the towels and the rugs don't all soak all that up. Yeah.
Isn't it crazy? If my wife makes chili, when I go to take a shower, my towel smells like onions.
Yeah. No, that's not crazy. That's just how things work.
I've enjoyed that, and so I bought this little cooker. So it's I don't know how big. I don't know how many quarts it holds. It maybe holds one quart, maybe two. I guess probably because I've used it a gallon twice. So whatever a third of a gallon is, that's what it fills. And so I can only cook like 2 pieces of fish at a time, but that's perfect for Elizabeth and me. I mean, I don't need a big deep fat fryer.
Right.
And I use canola oil, which is supposed to be the better, if you're gonna deep fat fry, it's better for you. And as infrequently as we do it, it's not gonna kill us.
Yeah, if you're gonna cook food in the unhealthiest possible way, at least use canola oil.
And I cooked tater tots in it too. So I had tater tots and fish this week.
So I'm trying a few little diet tweaks. I had been eating Greek yogurt fairly regularly just because I like it.
Isn't all yogurt for you Greek yogurt?
No. That's the problem. So I saw this video on YouTube where a guy was citing a study on visceral fat. So think, that last few pounds of belly fat that I can never really seem to get rid of. And they did a study where the subjects followed a certain diet, which was largely, it was like a Mediterranean diet, but they teased out some specific changes that they did. They had them drink 2 cups of green tea every day, a couple of cups of forest berries, so like raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries. Hopefully soon to me, mulberries, because they'll be in season again.
I know you're a mulberry addict.
I am. And I'm kind of ticked off because as the bike path that's being constructed out there, they cut down a lot of the mulberry bushes along the way, and they did not have to. But also eating half a cup to a cup of Greek yogurt per day. I forget the name of it, but some like deep leafy greens. I think just like kale. There were a couple of other, I forget the names of them. And then I think that, and and a high amount of protein. So like 1 gram, targeting like 1 gram per pound of body weight. So I'm eating around 150, 160 grams of protein a day.
That's a lot of protein.
Yeah. I don't have trouble. Where I have trouble is limiting the amount of fat that comes with it. Because like if I eat like chicken tenderloins, those are the best. They're really low on, really high on protein, really low on fat. But of course, everything comes along with cholesterol too. So it's, this whole like, I think my formula that I'm on is around 50% protein, 40% carbs, or 40% protein, 50% carbs, 10% fat, something like that. That's a hard puzzle to find all the pieces to make them all line up. I just say that. So I'm always, off a little here, a little high on this, a little low on that, etc. Still, I've cut way back on alcohol. At most I'm having like, maybe a drink a week, and not even that on most weeks. Got a new appreciation for a bunch of non-alcoholic brews, which will be making appearances on the Friends with Brews podcast.
Are you going to do a whole episode on non-alcoholic brews?
No, I'm just going to do several episodes where I will be drinking non-alcoholic beers. So,
cool.
Yeah. Yes.
You'll have to invite me to one so I can participate.
Absolutely. Well, Scott and I are recording tomorrow. So
I'm in Lobelville. So I don't think I can find any non-alcoholic beers here.
Well, you don't have to. It's not. We don't all have to be drinking non-alcoholic beers. I'm going to be drinking non-alcoholic beers.
I want to participate too.
You want to get undrunk with us?
Yeah.
That's right. Undrunk. Yeah. So, anyway, but for the last several days now, I've been eating a couple cups of the berries, all those things that I listed there, and we'll see how that goes.
So before we leave that talk, I've got a question for you about green tea. What green tea do you drink that you like? That's like a name brand that I would probably find here in Tennessee.
The name brand I don't know. The last green tea I bought was something I picked up on Amazon, but I can find it. It's Genmai Cha. So it's green tea with puffed rice in it.
That sounds interesting. Yeah. I bet that gives it a nice mouthfeel.
Yeah, it's it has like a smooth, I want to say a malty texture, but like more like malty is a flavor, it's not a texture, but still, I like it. I'm a fan. That's my favorite type. It's not bitter at all, but I have a bunch of other green teas too, so I alternate, mix them up.
I have to try to find. So sometimes I get a green tea and it tastes like fish to me, and that's weird.
Does this happen on days after you've had a fish fry?
No, it happens regardless. Certain brands taste like fish, and it makes no logical sense why in the world it would taste like fish. But not like I just ate a piece of fish, but like my coffee cup, the last meal that was on it was fish and it wasn't washed. It kind of.
Are you washing the coffee cup in the same dishwasher as the dishes that you use to either prepare, serve, or consume fish on?
No, not at my office. I don't do any fish consumption at the office.
No, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird, but it's every time. But yeah, I have been. So I was talking about teas. I've been trying to find lavender tea that I like, and I have found some. So I've tried a number. For me, the right combo is lavender and chamomile being the primary ingredients. There can be other things in there, but it's got to be. I want the essence of lavender. I don't want to taste lavender. Same with the chamomile. Right. I want to like, that's got a nice. I like that. Without saying what is that.
It reminds me of lavender, but it's not.
Yeah. It actually, Peter, it is. I was right. It felt like
that explains it.
It explains everything. No, because that's one of the things I want to offer from Roaming Roan as a product is teas made with lavender, but I want it to be a nice mix. And I'd like to grow chamomile, but chamomile won't live through the winters here.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have to import that from
those
somewhere.
Brutal Tennessee winters of yours.
Yeah. Well, they could survive if I were willing to. It's almost like a carport for plants that you build, and it helps. It just helps trap enough heat that plants live longer. But you gotta deal with sunshine. You gotta make sure they're getting enough sun. Like lavender can't live under that because lavender's got to have full sun.
Right. So, just call that a I don't know, a greenhouse.
Well, not when it doesn't go all the way down. So it's covering, but not like a full enclosure.
Right.
I mean, because that would then be a greenhouse, like you said.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
And greenhouses are not cheap.
A lot of glass there. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So what are we going to talk about today?
Well, I recently did a technology upgrade that I've been using for some time now. And I don't think I covered this on Friends with Brews yet. So I guess we get first dibs here. You scooped them.
Yeah.
So I bought myself an iPad Air M3.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. And now
10-inch? 10-inch?
Yeah, the smaller, not the mini, but the smallest size. Because I had been using my iPad for journaling a lot, and I had the M1. I don't remember how much money I got in. I got a decent trade-in value for it, and before I traded it in, I made sure that the Magic Keyboard that I had purchased with the M1 would still work. And it did, which was
good.
great.
That's amazing.
Yes. But the Apple Pencil does not work with it.
No, it doesn't.
They changed that.
Yeah. So I had the same thing. It doesn't work with the M3 processor.
Right.
It's a pencil.
It's a pencil. It doesn't work. So I don't know if it's if it's a processor limitation or just a form factor thing or whatever, but I noticed because I open up the iPad and I'm like, okay, now how do I pair the pencil to it? And I'm like, do I just attach it and then it works? And I tried to magnetically, MagSafe attach it and it didn't want to stick.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no. So I went to Best Buy. I got myself just the new Apple Pencil, the new edition, whatever the version was. And I also got the Apple Pencil Pro. And I was like, do I really need the Pro? What's it really going to do? Like, well, okay, Find My. You know what? As someone who a few weeks ago dropped my Apple Pencil while I was walking back to my car from a restaurant, okay, Find My might actually be useful. So that sounds kind of cool. The other one was, the haptic feedback when you're switching modes. I thought, that's going to be lame. You know what? I love that. Because often when I would do the double tap, it wouldn't register. So I would write something and then I would double tap to go to the eraser and not realize it hadn't taken because I'm right-handed and the eraser icon is in the bottom right corner of the screen, so I can't see that. And I would try to erase, and instead I'm scribbling more over it. So I actually get some value out of that. So I was like, okay, that's actually kind of cool. And then there's the squeeze to open the little palette. And I was like, am I really going to use that? You know what? I really use that. So, and the one feature that I don't really use, the shadow showing where it is, that's kind of nice. I get used to it where you have a shadow as if you were holding a real pen on a piece of paper. It's a nice, it's an upgrade. It's typical Apple bling, sure. The one feature I don't really use much is the rotation ability. So if you have a highlighter that's a wedge, it's not a point on the end, but it's a flat head. You can put that flat head down and twist the pencil. Or if you think an old fountain pen, right? I don't really use that much because I'm 99% of the time I'm just using the pencil or the pen tip or the eraser tip, and that's it. So, but other than that, I gotta say, you know what? It was probably a decent upgrade.
Yeah.
So I took it, and I was able to sell my old one on eBay for like $30. So all in all, a decent upgrade. Didn't cost me an arm and a leg. I was able to. Did I cancel my? Yeah, I canceled my Apple Care on the old one. So yeah, everything went pretty smoothly. And the biggest thing now is that when I reformat or refine text within the Apple Notes, it just goes faster. And everything is faster. I had noticed, even here, I'm with an M1 processor. And yes, I realize these processors are a few years old at this point, but still, it's a phenomenally powerful chip. And my iPad was getting slow.
Yeah.
And the other thing about my iPad was that every time I'd do an operating system upgrade, it would be out of space. And I don't think I'm crazy. I remember a time when iOS and I think iPad OS would just start offloading your apps for you to free up space. It doesn't seem to do that anymore. And so like every time I have to manually go in and uninstall this app, and I can't like manually just offload the thing. I have to like delete the app, reinstall all the apps, and after doing the OS upgrade. So that was just annoying. So I doubled the capacity on the the storage that I had on the previous one. So
yeah, I always get a lot of storage.
I was always, thinking like, I don't need it. It's all in the cloud. Why do I need so much storage? Well, it may be in the cloud, but all your apps want copies of everything local too. So.
Yeah, I haven't gotten one that doesn't have a terabyte. I mean, phone or iPad.
Holy moly! Wow.
Well,
that's way more than I do.
Yeah. Well, the reason I do it is if I decide I want to video something, I don't want space to be an issue. I mean, I don't want to think about it, and because if I want to download movies on the airplane, I want there to be space, and I don't even think about it.
Fair enough.
But I never get close to filling it up. But to me, $200 amortized over 3 years is how long I'm going to keep it. So.
Yep, that's less than $1 a day. It's way less than $1 a day. So,
so what app are you using to do your journaling?
Just the Notes app.
The Notes. Okay.
Yep.
Have you fooled around with Apple's new journaling function?
Yeah, and I don't like it.
Don't like it.
Yeah. I mean, the reminder every now and then is like, oh yeah, I do want to journal about that. But the app itself is, I think it's kind of garbage. It doesn't do anything. Like, why are the journals not so stored as notes, for example, right? I have yet another place to store them. And the last I checked, which admittedly was a while ago, I don't think you can export those to save them anywhere else.
You know what would be? This ought to, maybe there's probably an app for this since I thought of it. Is journaling, but journal by talking. So I talk to the journaling app and then tell it to put together a journal of what I just wrote to it or what I spoke to it in writing. Because my handwriting's bad. It always has been.
You're talking something more than just text to speech?
Well, text to speech is crap. I mean, because from the standpoint of if I want to write a sentence and I mess up at some point in the sentence, it's not going to put it back together right. So if but AI could do that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that sounds like a task for your AI assistant. Just you give it the stream of consciousness, and then I'm pretty sure I've seen an app that actually does that, or maybe it was someone who was just using ChatGPT for that. But that sounds like something you could definitely do with an AI. Just throw it right at an LLM and see what it says.
Yeah, that'd be worth trying.
Well, speaking of AI, I have a nifty.
All right, what's nifty?
All right, so I think I mentioned to you, I have a Google Sheet, that I use to track all of my subscriptions.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so I can tell when something is going to be renewing, and and it's a good tickler for me. Like, do you want to keep paying for this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I definitely used to do that. I would sign up for things and stop using it, and then get dinged and it renews, and like, why did I do that? Um, so I can see right now, for instance, within the next couple of weeks, my Apple TV Plus will be renewing.
Mm-hmm.
My subscription to 404 Media will renew. My Apple Care on my iPhone. My subscription to Marketplace on NPR. My Verizon Fios. My Kagi search engine. And a few other things, right? Lots of things. My gym membership, my Instacart membership, yada yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
So why did I put, what's this annual $159? What? Somehow I put that doesn't look right. Somehow I put oh, Nord. Yes, that is right. Okay. My Nord VPN. I bought plane tickets on Norse Air, and I was thinking NordVPN was Norse Air. I was like, I didn't subscribe to that. So anyway, so I have a spreadsheet for these things, and I track all of them. And what I used to have to do is go in to the spreadsheet, sort it, manually, look at each thing and say, yes, I want to renew it. Yes, I want to renew it. And then I would okay, my Verizon Fios, I'm not canceling that anytime soon, right? So I would just say, just put it out, punch it out a year, right? And then I'll revisit them. But then I would still forget, and it was a manual thing for me to have to go to the sheet and look at it and stuff. So I asked Claude, my preferred AI assistant of choice these days, can you make let me find the exact prompt here. I said, I have a Google Sheet with all of my monthly and annual subscriptions. Is it possible to generate an email when one of my subscriptions gets within a certain number of days of renewal?
Mm-hmm.
And it said, yes, you can. And it says, you want me to do that? How many days before renewal? I said, yeah, let's give me 14 days notice. And it said, okay. And it did. And it created a script, which was like over 300 lines long. And it told me how to go into the Google Sheet, where to, add an extension on this page under an apps script.
Mm-hmm.
And it told me exactly what to click, copied and pasted the code, did exactly what it wanted, and it works perfectly. And it sends me an email. And then I asked it, I said, okay, I realized that I need to support like semi-monthly, biannual subscriptions, quarterly subscriptions, and also, can you send me one email that includes all the subscriptions that will renew within the next 14 days? Don't just send me, one per.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, can you add a button that I can just click to advance the subscription by whatever the period is?
Mm-hmm.
So if I say, and Claude did all those things. It gave me a new script. I put it in. So now, like this morning, I received an email, and it showed, like the first like 4 things that I read to you. These are all renewing. And if I don't do anything, tomorrow I get another email. And if I just click advance, it just goes away until the next month, quarter, year, whatever. And that was really cool.
That is cool.
Yep.
Ironically,
and nifty.
Yeah, nifty. Ironically, I just wrote a PowerShell script today with ChatGPT. Very similar. I was like, hey, I need to know when the operating system was installed on a server. And I first I did the search, the PowerShell. I don't have those commands memorized of which thing I need to grab. And I was like, hey, ChatGPT does this. And so I asked it, write a script to help pick up the operating system. And it said, here it is. And I said, okay. It was going to export it to the screen. So whatever it was, I said, all right, export it to text. And I said, okay, I got to do it to text. And then I said, I got it. And then I was like, okay, I want it to have a unique name. The text name, I want it to be the name of the server, because if I grab all these text files, I want to it be unique to the specific server instead of them all being the same name. So I said, okay, append the server name to the export file name, and it didn't work. And so I went back to ChatGPT. I said, hey, it's not working. It's not, it's not punching the name out the file. All right, let me check that. And it says, let me check that. And he said, okay, I've written error code, error fixing on this. I'm going to run it later in the script so to make sure that this happens. And the next time, I ran it, and it worked. And it was like, it took me 15 minutes, from what I wanted to do with it, that if I had been writing the script by hand, testing back and forth and testing, it would have taken me a lot longer.
And it worked.
And it worked. And it worked. Yeah. What else? There was one other interesting thing. Well, what I liked was I just kept telling it, I want to add this to it. And it just added that to it, which was nice. Oh, I remember what it was. One of the things I always forget is to prompt to elevate permission in the script. So every time I run it, it says, but you don't have permission to run this script. I'm like, oh, yeah, elevate, I'll manually elevate it, and then I'll run it where it went ahead and it just wrote the elevation part of it at the very beginning. I was like, brilliant, because I always forget that. So that was nifty.
Brilliant. That is nifty. Yeah. I mean, and I know that's
go ahead.
Yeah. Two nifties. No, it's been a big topic of discussion in a lot of podcasts that I've listened to about vibe coding, and about all these, like people are like, well, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm just going to have it, spit out code and stuff. I'm like, you know what? For something like this, I don't care. This is like the first time I've ever needed a Google Apps script. I can't think of the next time I'm going to need one. I don't want to be a developer. I just have a task. I want this done. It gave me the solution. I'm happy, right?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to market this. I'm not making a product that I intend to support in any way, et cetera, et cetera. So, so I'm like, I'm good. I'm good, with this vibe coding in this case. Yeah.
Well, and it's more like science fiction coming to life than it used. I mean, kind of like the flip phones from Star Trek, which became actual flip phones. But I mean, that's the way on sci-fi, they talk to the computer and tell the computer to do something, and it doesn't quite do it. They say, well, okay, try it again this way. Okay. Right. And then, now that worked. I mean, that's exactly what happened with ChatGPT. I mean, that's exactly what you did. You're like, well, hey, you made that perfect. I do want to add a button. Add a button to that.
Okay.
Okay.
I think there was a Star Trek episode where I don't remember exactly what it was, but essentially it was like playing a game. The bad guy, there was a challenge, and the bad guy essentially had the computer play, or I don't remember what, but essentially the way the computer won was Spock programmed the computer to win. So it's like, what was the logic he used on that? Computer, win.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right, what else we got? Well, you can't see what we got because you're not on a Mac right now. So I had a bunch of things to talk about on the previous episode where we blurred the lines with the Friends with Brews podcast and talked about things that we were watching and reading. And in the last couple of months, I've watched a lot of movies and read several books. So at this point, most of the movies are out of the theaters. So, but one of them just opened last week. So I'll give you a real quick movie review of a few different movies. I watched Black Bag. Black Bag, yes. So Black Bag, starring Michael Fassbender and the lady, Kate Blanchett.
Oh, okay.
And MI5 spy movie, very good.
Oh yeah.
Very, not like a super high budget or anything like that, but definitely some suspenseful moments. Very good, highly rated, 2 thumbs up. So, so I really like that one, and I think you can even watch it on Apple TV at this point. It's on all the streaming services now. I saw Last Breath. It was a Woody Harrelson movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a dramatization of the real story of these deep sea divers who work on oil rig platforms.
Okay.
And something goes wrong and they need to save one of the guys. And it was like riveting, on the edge of your seat kind of drama.
Oh yeah. Was that based on a real story?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yep. So again, thumbs up on that one. Yep, that
Yeah,
was
because
good.
the preview, I think he got caught, and then there was a storm topside. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It was good. It was worth seeing. So then there was one that I had heard about like a year or so ago. It's on Hulu now. It's called Thelma. It was okay. It wasn't exactly what I expected. I thought it was going to be more of a comedy, but essentially it's about a grandmother. I think she's like 90 in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
who gets scammed online, and about how she goes about getting her revenge. And even if I remember, I gotta just look here. Thelma, yeah. Even when you look at like the it wasn't exactly what I thought it was. I thought it was going to be more of a comedy. I thought like she was going to go like full Rambo and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen, right? It's mostly like your perspective of being ripped off from an elderly person, and like not understanding how the technology works and stuff. So it was entertaining. I didn't like it as much, but I'll give it a thumbs up, but it's a weak thumbs up. So
Yeah. Did
and
you watch Gone Girl, or did you read Gone Girl?
no. Yep.
I didn't think that that'd be something that I would be interested in, but my
Yep.
wife told me the story, and of course spoiled it because I thought I would never read it. Now I wish I hadn't had her spoil it for me. But it's there's a revenge piece of that, so that's what made me think of
Okay.
that.
Okay. And then the last movie to cover is in theaters right now. It's the new Michael B. Jordan movie called Sinners.
Mm-hmm.
2 thumbs way up.
Yeah.
This is good. Yes. It's got some supernatural elements. It's set I don't remember the exact year, but turn of the previous century. So, early 1900s, like people are just getting cars, that kind of thing. 2 brothers return from is it World War II or World War? No, they have Tommy guns. So yeah, it's got to be post World War II, right? Yeah. Um, anyway, 2 brothers return from some time in Chicago. You find out that they were essentially gangsters. They return
Mm-hmm.
back home to Louisiana and start a business down there.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely takes a little bit of a twist, a little over halfway through the movie. But it was really good, really good.
Yeah.
And Michael B. Jordan plays 2 twin brothers. So
Ah,
he plays, so there's a lot of
mm-hmm.
like green screen stuff where there's one scene where he's like, they're sharing a cigarette, for instance. So
Uh-huh.
like one of them reaches over, takes the cigarette, and then hands it back over because the other brother's holding the lighter, and then he
Mm-hmm.
takes a drag and then hands it back over, and the other brother picks it up. It's like a tiny bit hokey, but all in all, it was really good. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was a good movie.
Cool. Yeah, I'll have to check those out.
There you go. So as the guys on the Weekly Planet said, movies are back.
Movies are back. Yeah.
Movies are back.
So one
And
thing that going back to our AI real quick. So I do Duolingo, and they have, I've mentioned before, they have an AI conversation that you have with one of the characters, Lily, and more or less she gives you 3 questions. In conversationally you say hello, and then she asks you 3 questions and you respond back. And she does remember like things that you've told her. Like if you said you play guitar, like guitar, she remembers that. But she like asked me what book I was interested in, and if I give her the name of the book, like the title of the book, she'll respond. I'll say, well, I liked the book It. Oh, I love Stephen King. It it's kind of,
sure you do.
Yeah, sure you do. But the AI is querying, what something is formal, and then getting information about it, and then it coming back to you with other information, which I thought was kind of cool, especially a little AI app on your phone.
It's acting like your agent. Yeah, I haven't used Duolingo in some time. I bought a lifetime subscription to Rosetta Stone last year sometime. But I also subscribe to this lady has her course on Udemy. It's 11%.xyz. That's her website, and she just does German lessons. So that's what I've been using for, and I'm picking up stuff. I guess I'm learning new things, but the thing I like better about her approach is she actually tells you, like, this is how you do this. This is the grammar. This is the format. Whereas Duolingo, it's just kind of like, here's a word. Here's a word, and and you're just supposed to sort of learn the grammar naturally through immersion, and I can sort of, you can get that, but like, even I had good success with the Pimsleur language series long ago. It's how I taught myself like Japanese and Portuguese, and that made me conversational, right? I needed to learn more vocabulary, but I could get the gist of conversations with those. But even that had a narrator who would say, like, notice that when you say this, you say that, right? And walk you through specifics without getting into detail. It's not saying like, this is the third person and the first person and the past participle and stuff, and just say, when you say this, you say that instead, or something like that. And that's something that both Duolingo and Rosetta Stone don't have. So when I go through some of the tests, like, I'm getting it wrong, and I'm like, okay, I know it's wrong, but other than trying again and just picking a different answer, I don't know what to do. I don't know why it's right or why it's wrong. So that's where Rosetta and Duolingo really fell short for me.
Yeah. And it does. I mean, if I didn't have a basis of understanding of Spanish already, then I would be very, very frustrated, because it gives you no understanding of tense. Well, the tense they just throw at you, but then also how to, why am I blanking on the word? Yo to, which word to use for each variation of the verb. There's no real great explanation of that.
Conjugation, right?
Conjugation, yeah.
Yep. So anyway, that was just my observation there.
Yeah, but I paid for Duolingo, and my whole family's on it, and so we're making it work.
I find that it helps to have multiple methods, though, right? To have more than just one. So, like if I'm prepping for a big exam or a certification test, I would always have at least 2 study guides, for instance, because getting a little bit of a different perspective is always helpful. Right? So, and I think learning a language is no different.
Yeah. Yep. I have, to your point, I have listened to other guys. I listened to this British guy that did Spanish lessons, and he gave me some ways that just made it like, oh, that's so easy,
Yeah. And when you learn some things, like if you learn tips and techniques, you can see how they apply. Like Tim Ferriss, has his way of learning things, and what he focuses on is like the 100 most frequently used words in any language, right? So you learn those, that gives you a good basis of things. But then he says the first things he studies is learn how to say I want, or I would like, or I need something, because then you don't need to learn the conjugation of the other verbs, right? So it's like you learn the word to shop, and then you say, I need to shop, or I want to shop. And then you don't need to like, I want, like I will shop, I will go, shop, yada, yada. You just learn I want, I need. And I only realized after the fact, I was like, oh, that's the exact same thing that the Pimsleur series does.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's pretty clever. All right. Well, we need to put a pin in this because I have somewhere to be. So I'm going to let you take us out.
I have somewhere to be as well. But listener, we do want your feedback. Scott's not here, so we will listen. And because Scott does not want your feedback, if you'd like to discuss a particular topic, if you'd like to discuss a particular topic, then you can drop us a line at www.blurringthelinespodcast.com. You can find Peter on the nets at yogawithpeter.com, friendswithbruce.com, Mastodon at Nikolaidis at infosec.exchange, Bluesky at peternikolaidis.com. And you can find me at Roan Lavender Farm, rrlavenderfarm.com. And with that,
let's push all the big red buttons, because there are so many now.
Stop.